Hey there, everybody. Always good to be here with you, checking in on a Monday morning. Woo, what a weekend we are coming off of, right? Starting with Friday and the latest, trove of Epstein files, which woo, did that set off some fireworks. Primarily among them, interesting response from Muskrat, huh? He's didn't have anything to do with it, da 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 da, and like, yeah, we're seeing quite some things to the contrary, and lots of other things, primarily too the fact that we Spirit said in my readings and others on this platform that no matter what, they're going to continue to try to cover up for Trump, and so even though he was mentioned whatever thousands of times or what, like not in the way that clearly common knowledge, right? So more of that to come. I want to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell's upcoming deposition in front of the House Oversight Committee on the 9th. So yeah, next Monday, a week from today, we're going to take a look at her and see what's going to happen around that. Couple of quick announcements for you all. I typically tape my political readings on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I am, for the first time, super excited. I'm going to be going to the Gemstone show in Tucson. So I will check in with you all. You'll definitely see me, but it'll be, my schedule might be a little bit different, but for sure I'll check in with you. A couple of other quick things. I've got 3 classes, amazing classes. I'd love to have you with me on the 15th of February, Saturdays, 3 Saturdays, the 15th, 21st, and 28th. On the 15th, I'm going to be doing part 2 of the Practical Magic series. Even if you didn't do part 1, you can order it. I've got it recorded. All of my classes are always recorded, my workshops. But we're getting into this, you all, because this is the year of the magician, a 1 year using tarot as a tool, not just to do interpretive readings, but to use these archetypes to actually help you manifest, like a different way of relating to the archetypes. So would love to have you in on that. That'll be part 2 on the 15th. And on the 21st, I am teaming up with my girl Susan Lynn. We're going to be getting into some divination techniques. I'm going to do a 4 coin divination technique, and then we're going to get into some integration, how to really utilize that. So excited to do that on the 21st. I'll put a link to all of this in the description box. And then on the 28th, I'm going to do a workshop on soul lessons from sinners. This is, in the wake of, we understand that Sinners has made history, the movie has made history with the most Oscar nominations. Oscars can't wait for that. That'll be in, March 15. But they already won a couple of Grammys last night. Just an absolutely phenomenal film that is it's so applicable in so many ways to exactly what we're living right now. So I want to get into that with you all. Hope you can join me for that. Again, everything linked in the description box below. You can go to my website, trulytouchedbytarot at gmail.com, right? Trulytouchedbytarot, all one word, at gmail.com. Or you can email me at touchedbytarot at gmail.com, and I'll give you the information, but would love to have you in on that. All right, you all, let's get down to some business. How about those, the special elections in Texas? Rock some worlds on that. And I'll tell you who else that's got nervous is Ron DeSantis here in Florida, because Texas and Florida being little sister states, they're in lockstep. But remember, Texas started this mess with the gerrymandering the maps and trying to figure out how they were going to lock down some extra seats, right? Now we've got Ron DeSantis jumping up. He's on his way out. He's term limited as governor. He's on his way out. So he's jumped up and said, "Well, then we're gonna get some things going here in Florida as well." And now he is under people are like, "Try it if you want to, but you might want to take a look at what's happening in Texas, because regardless of what you do, people are voting the way they're going to vote." And I want to take a look at that today too. I've got some theories that my guides have been giving me about some interesting ways that these elections might play out this year. All right, you all. Also want to mention, wonderful to know that Liam Ramos, the little 5-year-old boy, he has been released. We all know that. Amazing, though. Amazing to see. We need these moments of victory, right? We need this momentum. We need to see that resistance matters, and that there is justice, and there will be justice. All right. Alex Preddy's, the agents. Now I'll tell you real quick, and then I'm gonna get to some cards. I'll tell you real quick what was surprising to me, and I'd love to hear your comments. I love this. My platform here is, I treat it as a community. I'm on this side of the camera, you're on that, and equal importance. I was really shocked to learn, one, that they were both Hispanic or Latino. I don't want to misuse those terms, but surprisingly, their ethnic background, the two agents. And while we've been hearing so many of these, ICE and Border Patrol folk are, well, especially ICE folk, are just being basically recruited off the street, right? No training. The Jan Sixers, brought in. These were long-term agents, right? Something like 6 and 8 years apiece, that they had been a part of Border Patrol. So these were established agents. I was a little surprised by that, although I guess at this point we shouldn't be surprised by anything. But how did that strike you? That first of all, again, their ethnic background, and then secondly, that these were well-trained agents who deliberately did what they did, clearly, right? Well, for entertainment purposes only, right? We'll see. But they've been identified, and so Spirit's been saying, and others in the political community have been saying, political leaders, state and local officials, governors, etc., have been saying, we will find you. We will find out who you are, and you will be prosecuted. Those two are going to be prosecuted. I don't even need to go to the cards on that, you all. When, how long it'll take, that's a question, but we're going to see some prosecutions behind that. All right, here's where I want to get in. Let's go. Flip my notes. So this Epstein Honeytrap situation with Putin and Russia, right? This whole Honeytrap blackmailing situation. Now, does that help? And I know that's not breaking news for many of you all. Y'all stay 3 steps ahead of a lot of it. But does this help explain some of this dynamic between Putin and Trump, right? Is this why Trump is continually, or at least part of the reason why Trump is continually bowing to Putin, because Putin has the files, and Putin is using blackmail directly one way or another to Trump to say, what I got sitting over here. What Jeffrey sent me and what I have copies of before he left. Ooh, two cards just fell at the bottom of the deck while I was doing that. Here's my Ace of Wands. If you're with me, when I get aces, Spirit's like, okay, we got it. We're on a hot hand. Yeah. Putin, the Kremlin, they have copies of the files. And again, I know for many of you, you're like, duh, Afefe, we've been knowing that. But this really, as these files continue to come out and be released, with or without the redactions and not really being fully compliant as it relates to Trump knows what Putin has, all right? And we have the 8 of Swords, extremely stressed about that, because that's the card that he continues to dangle over, Putin continues to dangle over Trump's head. What I'm sitting over here with. So you will do as I tell you to do. Now, Ghislaine is scheduled for the House Oversight Committee, is bringing her for a virtual deposition. And we're hearing that on the one hand, she may plead the fifth. I want to go to Spirit and see. Spirit, are we going to learn more from Ghislaine? Because she was a part of that whole Honeytrap. So she was a part of all of it. The 9 of Pentacles, so she's got the goods. Is that her? Will she furnish more information? If they don't give her immunity, or is she going to bargain for immunity? Will they give her immunity to get testimony? The High Priestess, they know she knows the secrets, and they are working behind the scenes, you all, to try. I'm wondering, Spirit, is this partial immunity? Because it doesn't make sense for them to bring her in and she just sits there and says, I refuse to speak. She had that little meeting with Blanche last year. That got her from that one facility transferred to the more cushy facility. Is she going to offer and furnish more information? The Knight of Wands, that doesn't feel like the fifth to me, you all. That's movement and revelation. Spirit, will Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony in front of the House Oversight Committee, will she talk? Will she furnish more information about who's really in those files and what the deal is? The devil. Ooh, she's afraid. She's afraid. Rightfully, right? She's afraid because she don't want to wind up like Epstein did, right? The devil. They're going to try and lure her in. Are they trying to lure her with promises of eventual immunity if she keeps her mouth shut? And we know who they are. They are the Page of Pentacles. I think that's it. They're still trying to work with her between that High Priestess and this Page of Pentacles. They're trying to string her along and say, listen, we can't make this too obvious right now. Clearly, but if you play nice, we're gonna work something out with you. So Spirit, will her deposition testimony in front of the House Oversight Committee will it yield anything more damaging towards Trump? The Five of Swords, and this has kind of got an adult image on it, so I'll cover that up. Yes and no. She's going to, I get it. And the Queen of Cups, that's her flowing, talking, that's her, Ghislaine, but she's going to furnish more information. It looks like, instead of just straight pleading the fifth, she will furnish information, but it looks like it will be more damaging toward others. She's talked about in a recent motion, we understand that there were 29 government officials who were given settlements, I guess, while her trial was going on, and maybe even Epstein's trial, that they were given agreements. Is she gonna allude to that? Is that what she's planning to furnish information on? The King of Pentacles, that's I don't know if that's Comer or somebody. That's somebody in the House Oversight Committee who's going to be in charge of her. No. They're showing me that's her lawyers. That's her attorneys. That's part of this agreement that they've made. You got to give something, but just make sure it's not about front, Make sure you continue to protect him at all costs. Ace of Cups. Spirit is confirming. Yeah. So she is going to supply more information. She's going to do, if she's not, I don't get that she's going to absolutely, get up there and just plead the fifth, which some people were saying, but they are still, that devil, they're still stringing her along to say, if you just hang in there, we'll work it out. You're going to get either a full pardon. Let's ask Spirit. Will Frump, you know who that is, will Frump pardon her? Or is that the deal is that the carrot that they're dangling in front of her? Will he pardon her? Will she be given a pardon? Or is she being told, hang in there, and by the time this is said and done, you're gonna be okay. We'll extradite you. You can go back to Europe. The Emperor. Yep. That's him. That's Frump giving her that promise. She still believes that he'll look out for her. And she's essentially being told that. So, bottom line, and the Three of Pentacles, work with us, work with me, him, Frump, work with me, I'll work with you. So, will she flip, which I guess a lot of people were hoping, like, come on, girl, we know you know as much as Putin knows, right? Will she flip? She's not going to flip regarding him, but she is going to furnish more information and flip regarding shining some light on some other people to continue to make herself look valuable in the eyes of Frump to deflect away from him. Sheesh. Not surprised. Okay. Here's the other thing. Bear with me, y'all. You're going to be like, I don't know, Afefe. in light of the special elections in Texas, right? The two special elections. One maybe not so surprising, congressional seat, but certainly that state seat, the one that he apparently from front won by 17 points, and they managed to flip that despite being outspent. Dems were outspent. What was it, 20-1 in that district? Did not matter. I'm getting you all that leading up to the 2026 midterms, there may be Democrats in some of these red states who change their political affiliation, and perhaps even in blue states, who change their political affiliation, registered, and perhaps register either as independents or even Republicans, but still vote Democrat. And the reason I'm getting that is this sort of, the term Spirit gave me was sort of a bait and switch, because we know that to the extent that they're planning to election interference in 2026, again, this is my spirit guides talking for entertainment purposes only, right? That they have to know where to target. They're being very, that's what Muskrat supposedly allegedly did, targeting swing states, targeting districts that they know this is where we need to hone in on. But is there something in as a part of this resistance, as a part of sort of I'm getting like an activist vibe? Would there be, or could there be, a switch where what you see is not necessarily what you're going to get? It may look like Democrats are leaving the fold and joining your ranks, but ultimately when it's time to cast those ballots, it comes out a different way. I've got the Six of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I think that's a conversation in some circles, you all. Please let me know what you think on that, right? And I know some of you are going to be like, I don't know about all that. And I know many of you will probably, I'm not changing my political affiliation. I don't care who says what. But just think about that chess match, chess game play, right? They can't take over every state, every county, every office, right? Two of Wands, focused forward, developing a plan. Will there be people who shift or switch their affiliation as a means to deter election interference? That's the bottom line. So that red states and blue states, Two of Cups, switching affiliation, appearing to partner, but not really. Y'all, there's something to that. And the Chariot. I'm sticking with my guides over here on this end. I can't wait to see your comments. But there's some energy there. There are people who are going to, and also because of these increasing demands for voter data, to try and take people off the rolls if it looks like they're, if they're for, especially in Democratic heavy counties and states, blue states in particular, there's some stuff going on there to try and alleviate that. And there's an Ace of Cups. I can wrap this one up. Tell me what you think, but I'm telling you what I'm getting from some guidance here. There's going to be some really interesting ways that people go about voting and registering to vote that is going to be intended. The actual vote is going to be the actual vote, right? Going to vote the way that, the way it needs to go. But in terms of this, these attempts to interfere and these plans and plots to interfere and identifying where that interference should take place, you're going to see some switching around there. People are going to be like, you thought you knew, but you didn't. Woo! All right. And the last thing, talking about resistance again, I saw some things over the weekend around, we know that when ICE is going into many of the hotels, people have shown up to, make sure they can't sleep or they can't, restaurants are refusing them. Like, people know where they are. And so they're outside banging the pots or whatever. But I saw where there are also people, activists, resistors, who are sort of low-key undercover going into some of these hotels and photographing, like maybe maybe the agents are in a restaurant or at a bar or wherever convening, and they're getting where they're unmasked, right? And so, because the idea again is, you do this in our states, and one way or another, we're going to find out who you are and prosecute you. Are we seeing more activists, or will we see more activists go into hotels and other places where they convene, where they are not masked, and begin to compile photographs and other, maybe even recordings, other information, so that it can be used later to identify them? Let's go. Spirit. Is there an undercover movement afoot? The lovers. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. The Queen of Cups. The Nine of Pentacles. Gathering the evidence. The Queen of Cups, I just feel like that's somebody perhaps within an organization, or somebody who's had that idea, who's spearheading within certain states. This could even be someone like a governor, or someone who heads certain states where agents are going to be targeting going forward, because we know this is going to play out all year. And the Ace of Cups. Spirit is giving us an ace on that as well. There is a movement to do that. It feels, Spirit, is this going to take place? Like wherever there's a concerted, does Portland have a female governor? I'm sorry, y'all, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. That's somebody in leadership, and it's within the states. I'm not feeling this in DC. The Two of Cups, aware of it, and the Star. Y'all, I'm telling you, this is a part of the resistance. This resistance is getting really, really smart. Yes, we're going to have the third No Kings 3 on March 28th. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of organizational, publicly known gatherings and things like that to continue the resistance as we've seen it and growing. But there's some undercover multiple channels that are starting to take place as well. Will there be enough of this identifying information to play a key role, Spirit, in the subsequent prosecution of agents, these masked agents? The moon brought to light, revealed what's in the shadows, comes to light, illumination, who you are. You thought you were hidden in those behind the masks, but illuminated. Ooh, two cards are coming. Knight of Swords and the Eight of Cups. Increasingly, and we've heard this, that these are more agents who recognize the probability, not just the possibility, but the probability of them being identified and subsequently suffering the consequences. Right? Because what all of these promises, as we know, all these promises that are being made to them from the federal level, we got you, you're straight. At the state level, no. And there's no statute of limitations. So that's what's happening. Many of them, that Eight of Swords, many of them are starting to have doubts about that. They're starting to be concerned about it. It won't stop it. But I just find that really intriguing and interesting that there's this other element that's happening undercover, where people are there's something where they are going in and perhaps even infiltrating socially some of these areas and hotels to gather this information. So that's going to be of use. The last thing I want to close out with today is, like, why is JD so silent since Friday? Unless I'm missing something. Y'all let me know in the comments. But like, it's been, hear a pin drop around him. And normally we know he never misses an opportunity to get out and say something. Even if that something is just like, what? But what's up with JD Vance, Spirit? In the wake of the latest Epstein file dump and so many of the other things that have happened, the identification of these agents with Pretty and others, what's up with What's up with JD Vance? Why has he been so quiet? Why has JD Vance been so quiet? What's happening with him? Why is JD so quiet? All right, let's see. Five of Swords, he don't know what the hell to say. Okay, that's number one. He just doesn't even know which way to go. Oh, and I'm sorry that kind of had a little image on it. Sorry about that, y'all. Working this, I love this deck, and it doesn't have a lot of that in there, but a little bit. It's called the Serpent Fire Tarot. JD Vance, why is he so quiet? Four of Pentacles, stuck. There's an old saying my mama used to say, in fact, stuck on stupid for entertainment purposes only, right? Four of Pentacles. Yeah, he's really feeling the grind. He's not the grind, but the pinch. Like he's in a vice. Like not and the King of Swords. What the heck does he say? What does he say? This is also someone who's advising him. Is this Stephen Miller? The King of Cups. And the Magician. Yeah. Well, it's Stephen Miller, but it's also, I'm seeing King of Swords and King of Cups. I don't know why, for whatever reason, Peter Thiel just popped back into my head around him, the Magician. We know Thiel's role in developing Vance, basically made him out of clay, right? Sculpted him and zapped him and said, okay, now go forth and do what I told you to do. And the Lovers. Decisions that he just doesn't feel comfortable making right now. And it is all around the Magician ruled by Mercury, communications. The Lovers ruled by Mercury, communications. Started out with that Five of Swords. Yeah, so he I think he's being advised. For whatever reason, Peter Thiel came into my mind. Certainly we know Stephen Miller's in the background. But Stephen, yeah, he doesn't give a damn. So he would just say whatever. But strategically, people are in Vance's ear to say, shh, for right now. There's no good answer to this. There's no good spiel that you can give to this or story that you can spin, and keeping in mind that he's sitting on the sidelines waiting to step into Trump's chair at any given moment. So they're basically like, don't blow it. Page of Pentacles, slow your roll, be methodical, careful, strategic. Don't say anything that's going to harm you. Page of Cups. And Knight of Pentacles. And Seven of Swords. Exactly. Don't get caught in a lie. Another lie. Knight of Pentacles. Make your moves, but make them very slowly and very strategically. Page of Cups, because he's still Vance deluding himself into thinking if he plays his cards right, not only would he or will he have to step in when Trump exits for whatever reason in whatever time. But remember, he's thinking also long term, 2028. So that's why he's being very careful about what he says. I'm also getting, eventually it becomes so obvious that he is being silent. He's going to have to say something, but right now he's sitting with Thiel and whomever else, strategizing over the best way to do that without appearing to outright lie or add to the drama of it. He wants to come out looking more pristine and looking more ready to step into the Oval. That's his game plan. Like, okay, do you. All right, you all, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. I love your comments. Let me know. I know I went in some different directions today, so really interested to hear what your thoughts are about that. And again, remember, I'm going to be in Tucson, but I will film something from there. You'll see me. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. I know it's been brutal. I hope you're safe. I hope you and your families are safe. Please do check the description box for the upcoming classes. Check the book online page on my website, trulytouchedbytarot.com. And I'll talk to you a little bit later. I'm getting ready to go make me some warm tea. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, heaven above us, or sky above us, ground beneath us, and soul within us. As above, so below, chin up, shoulders back. Know who you are. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.